Canada's Jagmeet Singh, leader of the NDP party, from what I can tell, is all talk, no action. He's like a kid in school or something that'd say, if you pick on me 7 or 8 more times, then I'm really going to go tell the teacher. He says he differs with Justin Trudeau, but all of his actions indicate he's essentially the same politician. Here he is. Watch this video. Notice the thumbnail. The deal is done. Okay, Jagmeet.
Canadians are fighting a battle for the future of the middle class. Justin Trudeau has proven again and again he will always cave to corporate greed. The Liberals have let people down. They don't deserve another chance. There is an even bigger battle ahead. The threat of Pierre Poilievre and conservative cuts from workers, from retirees, from young people, from patients, from families.
So again, wasn't this video called The Deal is Done? This video is only 1 minute and 49 seconds. He's already back to talking about the Conservatives. This guy's the exact same as Justin Trudeau from what I can see. Maybe very, very slight differences on the margins.
He will cut in order to give more to big corporations and wealthy CEOs. The fact is, the Liberals are too weak, too selfish, and too beholden to corporate interests to fight for people. They cannot be the change. They cannot restore the hope. They cannot stop the Conservatives, but we can. In the next federal election, Canadians will choose between Pierre Poilievre's callous cuts or hope. Hope that when we stand united, we win. That Canada's middle class will once again thrive together. In Canada, we take care of our neighbors. That's who we are. I've embraced that value my whole life. I'm running for Prime Minister because together we can and will stop conservative cuts. We can deliver relief and restore hope, fix healthcare, build homes you can afford, stop price gouging. It's always impossible until it isn't. It can't be done until someone does it. If we're together, nothing is impossible. And we won't let them tell us it can't be done. Big corporations and wealthy CEOs.
Maybe one slogan. Don't do 4 back to back. Come on.
CEOs have had their government. It's the people's time.
I mean, the end of that ad, I don't actually mind as a slogan. Like, maybe that was a little bit better at the end, but do you believe any of that? That entire, like, again, that's almost like incredibly misleading. The deal is done, but then it's supposed to be about him ending the confidence agreement with the Liberals. Half of that ad was about Pierre Poilievre, who's not even the leader of the country right now. He's just #1 in the polls. It's like Conservatives have around 44% roughly, and then the Liberals and the NDP combined have around 43, 44%. It's actually incredible that I would think the Conservatives would be at like 55, 60% with how Canada's going right now. Now, here's Jagmeet Singh. This is today. Again, agreeing with Justin Trudeau. Ever since he made this video, as I'll show in a second, the Conservatives have correctly pointed out, nothing has changed. At least nothing I'm aware of, nothing major. I don't see anything major happening differently.
And we fought for this. We said this is important. And the Liberals informed us that they had caved to our demands.
He's talking, by the way, about a temporary cut on GST on certain items.
But they included a Liberal letdown. This is temporary, and it doesn't include the monthly bills. But we know that middle-class families need a break. So we're going to work as hard as possible to get this done as quickly as possible.
To me, he doesn't even sound like he actually means that. He's just throwing they included a Liberal letdown. Like, that didn't sound convincing to me at all. Let me know in the comments. I don't hear any, like, he just doesn't even sound mad at all, disappointed at all.
While the Liberals have let you down, Pierre Poilievre and Conservatives are missing in action. They're too busy playing games in the House, and all that Pierre Poilievre wants to propose is to cut the things that you need to make your life even more expensive. So this is what we are committing to today. We want to see this relief done as quickly as possible. So we're prepared to pause the privilege motion that's being debated in the House for 1 day, get this bill passed in 1 day, so that working families, so that middle-class families can get this relief as quick as possible. And then, when I'm Prime Minister, I will make it permanent. I'll do that again in French, and I look forward to your questions.
I mean, the odds of him becoming Prime Minister, literally less than 1%, but okay. And look, a lot of people have been pointing this out correctly, that if he really disagreed so much with Justin Trudeau, he could call an election. Elections in Canada don't have to necessarily happen every 4 years. Jagmeet Singh keeps holding on. Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, many people online have been pointing this out constantly. This YouTube video, the deal is done, means nothing if you don't take any action. Again, all talk, no action from what I can tell.
There's only one guy left keeping this prime minister in power. That's the leader of the NDP and stuntman who scammed voters right before a by-election. Remember the leader of the NDP's big stunt when he told Canadians he ripped up his coalition deal with the Liberals? In fact, the leader of the NDP said, quote, "The Liberals are too weak, too selfish, and too beholden to corporate interests to fight for people," end quote. But the NDP leader is all talk and is selling out to keep his prime minister in power. The leader of the NDP voted for the carbon tax 24 times, the same one that sends Canadians to food banks in record numbers with over 2 million visits in a single month. The NDP leader supports the inflationary deficits, voting to fund corruption like this prime minister's $60 million Arrive scam. Every day that this prime minister remains in power is because of the leader of the NDP. It's time for a carbon tax election so Canadians can fire this costly and corrupt NDP Liberal government.
And look, I agree with that. Like, as long as Canada has this carbon tax in place, I don't think it can really sell to Canadians that it's really concerned most about enriching the lives of the middle class, dealing with the affordability crisis. It's like, I mean, these little cuts, 2-month little cut is not going to do nearly as much as just scrapping the carbon tax. Donald Trump was just elected in the United States. We need to be competitive. So there's that side of it. When you have this carbon tax on a major industry, probably our major industry in Canada, the oil and gas sector, it's just like a blanket on them. They can't produce as much as they would want to do. They can't fund projects. You're not going to get international and domestic investment. Ridiculous. This, again, like, it's just such a bummer. It's such a buzzkill on the country in that regard of like awakening animal spirits, getting everybody to work, good paying jobs, etc. And the other thing, which Pierre Poilievre constantly brings up, that if you have a carbon tax, it affects the cost of things in a major way. The gas, the person that needs to deliver the food to the grocery store, etc. So it hits you on both sides. All this talk about like affordability, blah, blah, blah. And then the other side, you just have this carbon tax. It's like project that even RFK Jr., by the way, which I'll show after this clip, he's a major environmentalist in the United States. Even he says, what's with this obsession about carbon? You can protect the environment and not be so hyper-focused on carbon. One more point, though, on Jagmeet Singh. I don't like this attitude that he has towards Rebel News. By the way, I don't watch Rebel News hardly ever. Like, sometimes I see a clip of theirs that's fine. I've seen clips of theirs in the past that I certainly disagree with, but I do not like his attitude that he has here. Watch this.
Hi, I just have one question.
Okay, so which
Sorry? We're with Rebel News.
Sorry, we don't talk to Rebel News.
Why don't you speak to Rebel News? You know, Rebel News viewership is on the rise right now. CBC viewership is downhill, so
So I don't agree with that at all. There are real Canadians that watch Rebel News. I don't think you should just dismiss them that quickly. Yeah, I totally disagree with that approach towards journalism. And now I'll play this clip here from RFK Jr. where he talks about carbon. Again, RFK, massive environmentalist, but listen to his take on carbon.
So you're seeing this big alignment, and even on environmental issues. It's so weird to me because the Democrats have become subsumed in this carbon orthodoxy. And you and I have talked about this, that the only issue is carbon. And what that's done is it's forced them to do something that you should never do if you're an environmentalist, which is to commoditize and quantify everything. So everything is measured by its carbon footprint, how many tons of carbon it produced.
So I totally, like, Canada, we are so obsessed with carbon. All these politicians talk that they're such experts and that the environment can just be totally solved by one thing, carbon emissions. Like lately, Guilbeault is talking about putting pollution caps on our oil and gas companies. So I don't know, like, Canada needs to figure this out. And again, I just believe Jagmeet Singh, Justin Trudeau, all of our politicians, when they talk about affordability crisis, price of groceries, etc. And then on the other side, they're just so committed to this carbon tax. Come on, we actually do for sure need a carbon tax election. So with that said, I'll finish the video here. But as I said at the beginning, I do think Jagmeet Singh is all talk, no action.